200.
200?
I mean, it looks good. For sure.
Yeah, you gotta make a video on this.
This right here is the Samsung Galaxy Give me the phone. This right here is the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. Samsung's statement piece for this point in the year, and it's one that's not hard to ignore. As a hardcore Apple user, I must say, the South Korean tech giants truly blew me away. I mean, especially with that 200 megapixel main camera. But is it enough for me to make that switch from Apple to Samsung? I guess we'll have to wait and see. When I got this device, it was a very slim box that comes in a matte finish. I had trouble peeling the back seal, so I had to use a knife. Opening the box, you will see the back of the phone with 5 camera lenses protruding through the camera cover, which allows you to simply lift the phone out of the box. This paper cover is not a sticker, it's more of like a cardboard cover. I went for the green colour and I honestly think it looks amazing. In the front, the screen is protected with a sticker that is so satisfying when peeling off. I really like the flat edge design, making it comfortable and natural to hold. It definitely feels and looks like a premium phone for sure. When turning it on, the beautiful OLED screen just looks really good at first glance. In the box you get some guides, which I'm pretty sure no one reads, a SIM tray ejector and charging cable. This year's Samsung Galaxy lineup features the S23, S23 Plus and S23 Ultra right here. But in today's video we are only going to focus on the S23 Ultra. One of the nice fundamental upgrades over the Galaxy S22 Ultra is that Samsung have generously doubled the base storage from 128GB to 256GB. However, it does come at a price of £1,249 for the 256GB storage, while the 512GB one comes at £1,399 and the 1TB version comes at £1,599. For me personally, I went for the base storage model and I think that should be enough for me. At least I hope so. Whichever storage size you end up choosing, it's worth noting that you are still paying a premium price for Samsung's best Galaxy phone. For the S23 series, Samsung have decided to carry the same design from the S22 Ultra. However, I'm sure there are some subtle refinements that you Samsung users can spot, so please do let me know in the comments below. As you can see, the phone is very big, and upon picking it up, it feels great to hold. And it comes at 234 grams, which is a little lighter than my 13 Pro Max. The left frame of the device is plain, while the right side has the power and volume keys that fit seamlessly with the design. The base of the phone houses the S Pen, speaker grill, Type-C port and the SIM tray. You can get the Ultra in phantom black, cream, green and lavender. I ended up going for the green variant simply because it makes the phone look super clean and premium. It gets a clean matte type finish that looks really good on the eyes. I noticed that when the light hits the back of the phone, it gives it a greyish like shade, and I think that looks really cool. The back feels nice to the touch, and most importantly, it is not a fingerprint magnet. I love how the cap of the S Pen matches the body colour while the rest of the stylus is black. The pen feels really good to use and it can be docked within the body of the phone, and it is very well embedded with the S23 Ultra's design. Honestly, it doesn't feel like it's even there. Aside from the looks, the company's excellent efforts in durability persist too, with IP68 certified dust and water protection, a resilient armour aluminium alloy frame, and for the first time on any phone, the latest Gorilla Glass Victus 2. For all the advanced technology that Samsung has impressively managed to pack into the S23 series, they are also focused on using environmentally friendly materials, with the Ultra being the real champion of this initiative, which is always good. As on last year's Ultra model, you get a 6.8-inch dynamic AMOLED 2X panel with a resolution of 1440 by 3088 and a dynamic refresh rate that can scale between 1Hz and 120Hz, automatically shifting to prioritize power efficiency or visual fluidity as needed. Samsung's displays remain some of the nicest out there on mobile, and the S23 Ultra is no exception. Colours and visibility look great, even against bright daylight. with viewing angles showing minimal brightness drop off and a nice consistency to colours. In fact, Samsung has apparently tuned the display to serve up more accurate colours against a wider array of ambient lighting scenarios using its advanced vision booster that adjusts tone and colour as needed. Watching a movie on Amazon Prime, the blacks look inky enough and everything else just pops to give that perfect clarity along with a beautiful colour output that's just soothing for the eyes. I also tried out Netflix and as you can see it looks amazing. I'm currently watching the latest season of Outer Banks and I'm truly enjoying the experience on this phone. But honestly though, I don't think the camera is doing this display any justice. It looks so much better in person. The S23 range all have a peak brightness of 1750 nits, but it still doesn't compare to the iPhone 14 Pro's 2000 nit peak. But in real world scenarios when carrying out everyday tasks, watching movies and gaming, the visuals look exceptional. The tall form factor of this phone makes the S Pen perfect for it, and I love how well Samsung have embedded it within the phone's design. The display on this phone provides lots of space to jot down important points, or if you're like me, I just write up spontaneous YouTube video ideas that come to mind. The stylus is slim and feels accustomed on the hands. When writing, I would say it feels fast and accurate, and I love the sound you get from the phone when writing. As you can see, it is precise with quite low latency. There are plenty of functions the stylus pen can perform, but mine remains taking quick notes on the go and editing my photos in Lightroom. Overall, I would say the S Pen is impressively responsive and the user experience has been fine-tuned in ways that appeal to productivity. You even have the option to make additional configurations and to customize it to your liking. The audio experience on this phone is really good as it comes with stereo speaker support that helps make videos more immersive, and it can get pretty loud too. It sounds really good when watching movies.
They had to act fast to release one of their own if they wanted to stay relevant. The solution? Xbox. And it barely fits on my table.
And when listening to podcasts.
Believe that there is someone who is wiser than them, that has a grand plan, that's logical.
For music on Spotify, the speakers also sound really good. Listening to music on headphones are still very much the way forward for me, with Dolby Atmos support providing greater tuning for movies, music and podcasts. The phone also boasts the company's special high-res Samsung Seamless codec, though that is only possible if you've got the Galaxy Buds 2 Pro. The Galaxy S23 series are equipped with the latest and greatest Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip. This eliminates any performance issues and helps with aspects like camera processing and battery life consistency. The Prime Cortex X3 core inside the chipset has been overclocked to 3.36 GHz without compromising efficiency or battery longevity. The vapor chamber in this chip is supposed to help with thermal efficiency, while the use of faster and more efficient memory and storage work hand in hand for greater performance. I feel like phones have reached their peak when it comes to power, and it's come to a point where it is barely noticeable now. So I personally think it is more beneficial as a marketing campaign for Samsung rather than it is for the end user. The RAM on the base storage S23 Ultra is 8GB and it is more than enough to handle day-to-day tasks such as navigating between Notion, Gmail, messaging, Lightroom, web browsing, and much more. As you can see, this phone makes it a flawless experience and it handles it very well. However, if you opt for the 512GB or 1TB storage size, you will be getting 12GB of RAM. Looking at the Geekbench 6 results, there is no doubt that this phone is an absolute machine in terms of numbers. I wanted to push the Ultra by playing Call of Duty with maxed out settings, and I managed to play on it for about 30 minutes and the phone managed to run things very smoothly, and I also had apps running in the background. However, the phone did get noticeably hot, so if you're going to be gaming for long periods of time, I would suggest sticking with the default settings. One department that attracted me the most about this phone is the camera, especially the headline 200 megapixel camera sensor, so I was super keen to test it out. In terms of pictures, this is what I was able to capture. 1x pictures taken in broad daylight look really good with the right amount of colour and nothing is too overexposed. The camera was also able to take good enough photos in an environment composed of a mixture of natural and artificial light. When taking photos indoors in a fairly dark room, the images look really good, and considering I was using night mode, the image looks fairly sharp and not too washed out. I must point out, night mode is not available on the 200 megapixel and 50 megapixel sensor. I took some photos using different focal lengths outdoors. The images looked sharp with fairly consistent colours throughout. I was excited to test out the 100 times focal length, and here's what I got. I would say it doesn't look so bad, but there still is room for improvement. Portrait mode looks perfect, and I love how well the edge detection feature has been fine-tuned by Samsung. As you can see, there is no fuzziness around the edges, mimicking the performance of a lot of the high-end cameras out there, which is always nice. The pictures I have shown you so far were all taken using the 12 megapixel camera. Now I was super excited to try out the 200 megapixels and 50 megapixels resolution, but unfortunately it has a limited focal length of up to 6 times. But I must say, it's super fun to shoot with. And as you can see, the images look super detailed, but it's worth noting that the size of these images are fairly large and take up a lot of memory. Now moving to its video capabilities, here is a side-by-side comparison video of me walking towards the shard using super steady mode on the left hand side and not using super steady mode on the right hand side. Here is another one of me walking at the Olympic Park with steady mode on. I think it definitely does a good job at keeping things steady while not overdoing it, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Here is another indoor video using artificial light, and I must say, it looks very cinematic. I really enjoyed shooting 4K ultra wide at 30 frames per second, and as you can see, it looks good enough for those crisp POV shots. Shooting 8K video looks really crisp too, but unfortunately super steady mode cannot be used here. The 12 megapixel front facing camera also performs fairly well. With the camera settings on this phone, you can really get super creative, especially with the manual configurations you have on deck. I will say however, two things that bothered me was the over-processing of images, which can sometimes end up ruining the colours and dynamic range of the image, making it look so unnatural, and I hope Samsung can do something about the shutter lag. Samsung have decided to continue using the 5000 mAh cell that was used in the S22 Ultra, which supports 45 watt wired charging along with wireless charging. Honestly, thank God for fast charging. This only takes just over an hour to go from 0% battery to 100%. Of course, you just need to make sure that you have fast charging enabled. And since Samsung no longer provide a USB-C charger, then I would recommend opting for this one right here by Anker. I will leave a link in the description below. Despite not making any changes in that department, Samsung have claimed the efficiency of the new hardware and integration between hardware and software results in a 20% improvement. And upon testing out the battery for a full day, I must say it has not let me down at all. I managed to get a day and a half while using this phone to take photos, videos, web browsing, emails, and streaming on Netflix and YouTube with the brightness pushed up. I even managed to play some Call of Duty and it still was holding on. Overall, as someone who uses an iPhone, I am beyond impressed with Samsung's battery. So I have had this phone for about 4 weeks now and I really like it. It's got a lot of cool features that I'm sure we can all appreciate, such as nearby share, which is awesome by the way, wireless power sharing, you can tweak settings with just one swipe, and I love how easily accessible the control center is, allowing me to have everything at my fingertips. And let's not forget the superior battery life along with that beautiful display. Honestly, the S23 Ultra is an absolute machine with the top end Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset along with a RAM and storage working collectively to deliver a performance that lives up to its price tag. I managed to export photos and high-res videos very smoothly and the S Pen works really well. The camera on the phone is an absolute beast and it can truly allow you to get creative. But one thing that annoyed me the most is that sometimes the images were too over-processed to the point where they did not look natural at all. And I hope Samsung can fix this issue in a software update. However, as an Apple user, I don't think I can ever make that switch to Android. And the reason being is due to the Apple ecosystem that I've been sucked into. This ecosystem basically refers to the integration of Apple's hardware and software in products such as iPhones, iPads, and Macs to create a seamless and efficient user experience. Apple promotes productivity and efficiency by ensuring that their customers are not only attached to one device, but they promote the use of multiple devices that work together in harmony. This can make it very difficult for users such as myself to switch to other platforms such as Android. Don't get me wrong, I still really like this phone right here, but it's just not for me. For those of you still looking to purchase the S23 Ultra, I would always recommend you pop into your nearby Samsung store to get a real feel of the device and so that you can make your final decision. I hope this video was helpful for you guys, and I'll hopefully catch you guys on the next one. Take care.